Reporting. I want to first and foremost thank everybody who is here, who has joined. This is something for me that I've wanted for a long time to be able to have these kind of events. And just my background for those who are unaware of who I am. My name is Brian. I'm from the north of Boston area, and I have been selling on eBay for 26 years. I started when I was 14. I'm now 40, and I've learned a lot of tips and tricks throughout those very long years of doing this. And I've set up this seller event group to be able to help people some of the things I've learned. So there's some of the things that I do that really, honestly, no one else does, and it has helped me make a ton of money on eBay. So that's what this group's going to be. I'm going to be teaching tips and tricks. I luckily have a pretty decent social media following where I've become good friends with a lot of other influencers, and I want to have as many of them as possible to come in here and teach everybody all the tips and tricks and things that they have learned what they do. Because I do things my way doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. It just means it's worked for me. I want to have a lot of other people on in the future and other sessions to be able to teach everyone, what's other ways of being able to do it as well. So occasionally you're going to see something pop up on the side for presenters. That is a glitch here that I'm trying to fix. So sometimes the box will open and close and things like that. So all right, so let's get started, everybody. First and foremost, I want to be able to tell you that the number one thing that I have learned on being able to make more money on eBay is something that most people absolutely ignore, and that is your store categories. Now, think about it. How many times have you shopped on eBay and gone to somebody's store and looked at their store categories? Been like, okay, I bought pants from someone, and now I'm going to go to their store categories and I'm going to go, oh, and click on pants or click on electronics, or no one does it. I mean, nobody has ever, maybe in the history of eBay, has ever really looked at someone's store categories like that. Have people use the search bar and type something in? Maybe you got a really good deal on a Coach bag, so then you type in Coach bag and see what other ones people have. But for the most part, people don't utilize their store categories, in my mind, correctly. I do it very differently. I believe that you should be discounting your items in your eBay store regularly. I discount mine every 45 days. That's the amount of time that I do it. I'm going to teach you exactly how I do it. And I can't guarantee this, but I can tell you right now, if you listen to me and follow what I do, it can't hurt your sales. It can only help it, because right now, if you let's say you sell clothes. Say you're a clothes seller. There's a lot of people here who are probably clothes sellers. If you bought a shirt 9 months ago and it's been sitting in your eBay store for 9 months, and you bought a shirt and you listed it today, how on earth are you going to be able to properly discount those items if they just go into a category called shirts or clothing or something in your eBay store? You can't. I mean, could you go back and see when you listed it? It's a whole process and it's an absolute nightmare. This is the easiest way to do it. Whether it's an old clock radio or a jacket or crystals or magazines or models or whatever, every time you list something, it goes into a category called new. Okay? New. That's where you put everything. And then 45 days or however many days after you did your last sale, everything goes into a category called 5% off, and then you discount everything 5% off. Then all the stuff you list now goes into new. Okay? Then here's the best part. 45 days later, everything that was in 5% off goes into 10% off. That gets discounted. Everything gets moved until eventually, if you do this and do this correctly, you'll have items that actually end up in 80% off. I know that sounds nuts, but it does. I have all my categories, and I'll show you guys all my categories on here. In one of the slides I actually show, you will see that stuff ends up in an 80% off category. And if you didn't do this the way I do it, you're going to have stuff that stays in your store forever. Now, maybe you haven't done this before, and maybe this to do the whole process, 45 days times however many, this may take over a year to properly do this, but the sooner you start it, the better. So I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. Okay. So this is how to set up your store categories correctly to be able to properly discount your items. Step one, if you actually have another page on you to be able to look up and see, um, eBay or have a my eBay page. And I also can send this PowerPoint to anyone who sends me an email who wants it. No problem with that. But if you want to just see how it's done or you want to do it yourself, go to the my eBay on regular my eBay page. On the top right, it'll say my eBay. Click my eBay. Then you're going to have categories like overview, orders, listings, marketing. You want store. You can hover over store and then you can click store categories, or you can just click store categories here. I'm still showing a blank screen. I hope no one else is showing a blank screen. What if you do not have a store? Just use the normal free listings. I recommend getting by the way, an eBay store is like $8. If you are going to do eBay and you want to take this and make money and have this be something, I can't recommend enough. What you want to do is you want to have an eBay store. Spend the $8 a month, get the store, brand it. It's honestly one of the easiest things that you can do. So this is how I do this is I have go to store categories, and this is how you create store categories. So in the top, it's circled. See, it says add store categories. You add store categories here. The store categories that I recommend, you start out, and I'm going to have the full list for you, but it's for anyone that's. I hope no one else is showing a blank screen. I heard a couple people said that it is. I'm sorry if it is. Hope this is showing up. But try to. Will you lose your postings or will they transfer over? Yes, you will not lose your postings. All you're doing is you're going to bulk edit. So I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, Bill, I'm glad you're okay now. So you add store categories and you start with, this is the most important one. See, it says new. Okay. That is every new listing you're going to have, you put it in there. All right. Then you're going to do 5% off, 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, 40% off, 50% off, 60% off, 70% off, and 80% off. Those are the categories. Can the customer see the name of the category? Yes, they absolutely can. So if they want to see what things are highly discounted, they can. And I'll show you how it looks on the back end and how it's going to look to you and to all of your customers when they go to your store. So I have some other categories that you can see, and I'm going to go over that a little bit. But also, see here where it has like 220 listings. These are the things you're going to click when you eventually want to do your discounts. You click here, and it goes in and do it. But this is the front end of what customers see. When customers click on your categories, they're going to see all your categories. So you don't want to have a category that says like junk or crap or things like that. You want to have it that, they can see that that's what that looks like. This is the back end view. So if you look at the back end view where it says 5% off, 10% off. And so this is what it's going to look like for you there when you do that. So I have a couple other categories, and I want to explain why I have a few others. And like I said, you are going to want to have a few other categories for specific reasons. So I do consignments. So anytime I get a consignment, it's always an auction. It's a 1-week auction. I'm not going to put that in any other category other than consignment because I want the people that consign me something. Let's say someone consign me a bunch of jewelry and they want to look at all the jewelry. I just am able to send them a link to the consignment part of my store. So it's perfectly fine. Now, I also have a couple other categories. Mass pennants for Massachusetts pennants that I have, like I used to have 8,000 of them and now I have like 1,200 of them. Topsfield Fair, which is some license plates I have that aren't going to sell quickly. Those things are going to be in my store for a long time, but they don't take up a lot of room. And vintage belt buckles. I have like 700 or 800 of them. So those are some items that are going to take a long time to sell. And I don't want to have them go through the regular process. Some of them I just do 25% off every single sales period. So those get their own category. They were all listed at the exact same time. So if I have some other vintage belt buckles that I'm going to list, they wouldn't go into that category. They would either go into vintage belt buckles too, or they'd go into new and then do the same process. So you can have additional categories. And I don't end and do sell similar. I don't do any of that. People do, and they restart their listings, and they can do that, but that's not what I do. So here's how you want to be able to edit your categories. This is the best way to being able to do it. So if you look, you can go into the categories once you click in. So I'll go back just so you can see here. If you, here you add the store categories. And then right here, once you go onto your store categories page and you click in, remember I showed you here that these are the listings. So if you click one of these, this is what comes up. It has you allowing you to collect and change the categories that you can select. So feel free to go in and to do that. Um, and see, I clicked new for the category I was going to change. So everything in new you can put in 5% or 10%, but you can do this frequently. So when you want to change categories, this is the easiest way to do it. So when you decide you want to change all your categories, all the items in a category from, you know, 5%, these are all going to be 10% off. So this is like all new items. There were 15 of them. You click actions under edit, you go to edit here, and then you are able to do bulk editing. That is something that you go in and do. And then once you're able to select all or do some, those are the options. For this, I just collected, did a couple. So for these two, they were check marked. And then you're able to go in and click that you're going to edit those selected. The next page that shows up is this page right here. And once you go into there and you're able to see the items, you can check mark that you're going to do these. Then it asks you what you want to do in the top left of what you want to bulk edit. You want to click on category, and then you go down to where, see how this is the first thing that shows up. You scroll down and you do store category, which is here, change to, and then you can change every one of those items. So I'll change 300 items. And I found that, that's the way to being able to do it the fastest. The reason why I don't just change category names and do it that way is because there's times where I don't discount every single thing in that, and it also would it get screwed up pretty easily if you do. There's some items that I leave in 50% off for like 3 or 4 additional months because I feel like it just hasn't hit yet, giving it more time to get that sale. So that's something to keep in mind of doing. So once you go through and you change to change that category, then you were able to have it that that item is now going to be 5% off, 10% off, whatever you decide to do. So once you've decided to do that, um, you want to be able to go in and now actually do the discounts. So now your categories are all set. Let's say you've now moved everything into 10% off or 15% or 20% off, however you want to do it. Now, all that stuff, you go into my eBay and then you go to marketing and then you go into promotions. And then it allows you in the top right to create a promotion, and you put down to single promotion, create a sale or a single promotion. At that point, you can choose your discount. When this drop down comes down here, it allows you to do everything from 5% off all the way to 80% off. You are able to do that, which a lot of people don't know, that a lot of people do their discounts differently. This is the way to be able to do it where it's not just random. A lot of times people are like, I'm just going to discount everything in my store by 20% off. And then guess what? That sale ends and something doesn't sell. And then what? That stuff just sits in your store. You may have things in your store right now that will be in your store 10 years from now if you do not do this. That's the problem. A lot of people, if you have the room to keep stuff in your store, that's great. But I don't like sitting on dead inventory. So this on this case is going to be 10% off. Then it gives you a couple options. One is you can have up to 1,500 items per that promotion. So let's say you have 3,000 items that you want to discount 10% off. Then you'd have to do 10% off category 1, 10% off category 2 to be able to fit everything in. I don't know why they limit things to 1,500 per promotion. And then this one, for some reason, has rules that up to 15,000 per promotion. I mean, it should just be unlimited for both, but it is what it is. So you want to do select items here. That is something that is going to make it so that you're able to go in and change that. So here, you can select the inventory that you want. This part right here is very important. So I'll show you here what comes up. So if you look, this is where you're at. You right here, all inventory selected. I selected that. Then I clicked store categories. That's the best way to be able to do it. That's why this to me has been the best way of being able to do my discounts. You go in, you do store categories, and then you're able to pick which categories you want and how many items are in each category. You use this bar here, scroll down, find it. I found that there were 18 in the, new category. I clicked this one right here. Then you want to click again, all the items. Then you got to confirm your selections and then save and review them. So you got to do it kind of like twice, which is annoying, but whatever. Then this is the last part. You go in and do the sale event name. The sale event name, I always do, if it's 10% off for everything, 10% off. The 50% off, 50% off. So what it does is it will take 10% off everything that's in that category. So all this stuff, you can just forget that. The big thing is here. This is where a lot of people make their mistakes. So if you go through and you look, you're able to see that you can have it be a 1-day sale. You can have a 2-day sale. The maximum you can do is 45 days. So I do, this one was February 1st. I always do start now. You can have it start in, 7 hours, 8 hours. I always have it that it just starts immediately. Then I pick up the calendar and I count it to be 45 days, and then I have it end at night. The last amount of time you can do is 11:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's when I have it end. So have it be exactly 44, 45 days. And also weirdly enough, you have a sale event banner. You got to just write this here, 10% off. So you got to do it here and you got to do it here. So it's a little bit of a pain, but you can kind of bang through it pretty quickly. If you keep doing this over and over again, it becomes easier. But that's what you're going to have to do. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you're running a sale. So these are the sales that I'm running. As you can see, this is a live sale. Started January 27th. 45 days later is March 11th. These are all the different sales. They're all active. I also did 25% off for those license plates and the pennants. That was their own sale there. And then the belt buckles, I started at 5% off, 10% off. That one I did slow. So that one's 15% off. Like this time it's all the way up to 40% off. So I did 40% off and belt buckles. You can choose multiple categories for one sale. So that is what it looks like when it is active. Okay. Let's see. We have some questions. I haven't gotten to a bunch. I apologize. But can you list in 2 store categories? So you could also have a regular category if you wanted to. You could have a subcategory if you want to as well. Absolutely. So if that is something that you want to have and you want to do and is having a subcategory, you can. I find it to be a little confusing. It kind of messed me up a little bit. I tried it, but I don't recommend it. Anything else paying more than $8 for store minus $21.95 for basic. I have a lot of items in my store, so I think it's the premium tier, which is one up from that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm missing so many comments. It's wonderful. Thank you. Can I please have your email? Yep, I'm gonna have the my email at the end of this, so you'll be able to see anyone who has any questions. You can email me at any time. View the PowerPoint later on. Donald, I appreciate it. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when you actually do it. So here's my plan for sourcing outside of thrifts, sourcing outside of anywhere, all that different stuff. I want to be able to have it that there's different ways of being able to source, but at the same time, you can have different ways of doing your categories. This is the way I do that. So create your categories here, new 5% off, 10% off, 20% off, 30% off, all the way to 80% off. Do that right there. Then move all your inventory into the correct category. Move all your inventory into from new into a 5% off category, and then you can start that sale. Create the first sale of everything in that 5% off category. Then that's going to start the clock on 45 days. 45 days later, until your items go all the way to 80% off category, you just keep doing it. And then you will move inventory like you will never move it before. I've been doing this for over a decade. So I can't yet again recommend enough that this is the best and easiest way to being able to do this. There is a risk in it because you have items like, let's say you have winter clothes and you start doing this and it starts discounting. And next thing you know, it's discounting over the summer. And by the time it gets to the winter, now your jackets are, 40% off, where if you just kept them regular, then it wouldn't be. My feeling is if you have the margins like I have and like so many other people have, we can afford to take huge haircuts off this stuff. If you're buying something at the bins or a thrift store or a flea market or yard sale or an estate sale and you're paying $5 for a jacket that you listed for 100 and it's just sitting there. And then that 5% off becomes 10% off. So it's now down to 90. I've had it that sometimes that jacket that I bought for $5 at a estate sale or a flea market for, $5, I listed it for 100. I was positive this thing was worth 100. Ends up in my 80% off category and still doesn't sell. Then I take all that stuff off. So we're going to get to the most important part of this, which is first off, for anyone that wants to send me an email, I'm leaving my email up here. And then we're going to get to the next important part of this, which is eBay discount day, which is one of my favorite days. But I'm leaving this up for a couple minutes. Anybody that wants to send an email, has questions, you want the PowerPoint, send me an email and I will send you this PowerPoint so you'll be able to have it. And also I'm Kings of eBay on all social media platforms, so you'll be able to ask me questions. I do lives constantly on TikTok almost every single night, so you'll be able to see that. But yeah, just want to get into something that is important, which is what happens afterward. What happens when stuff gets to 80% off? What happens when you had something listed for 50 that was heavy, and now it's down to $18 and it'll cost you more than $18 to actually ship the item? So here's what I do. Hold on. Okay. What I do in that case is I do something called eBay discount day. And it's that day right before I do all of the sales. So like I'll give an example. If you started February 1st, March 15th, that date is going to be when all your sales end. So on March 12th or 13th, you go through your entire store and you do it from lowest price plus shipping on every single item. And you look to see, this item was originally 50. Now it's down to 18. It's heavy. It's not selling. Nobody wants it. You end the listing. End the listing. I end between 60 and 100 listings every 45 days. It's one of the best things I've ever done. I fly through inventory. I get through this stuff like absolutely crazy. I take that stuff, I put it on the other side of my room, and I have a giant pile of, I call it eBay junk. It's just a giant pile of just crap that I can't get rid of. And that stuff gets dumped on another platform where someone will come, they'll give me 100 or 200 bucks and they get it out of here. And hey, guess what? Maybe that stuff's a little bit of a loss. But I'll tell you what, I'd rather have $150 for $300 worth of stuff that was never going to move, because I know I can reinvest that $150 with the life lessons I learned from that stuff and get more things. Clear out room, clear out space. You absolutely do not, under any circumstance, want to have dead inventory in your store. Because think about it. I only have so much room. I mean, I have about, I think, like 1,200 listings currently on eBay, something like that. And that's after I just removed 76 a couple days ago. And I've got probably 3,000 to 4,000 items that need to be listed. I don't have room. I barely have room for what I have now. And now imagine I get a phone call. Hey, we got a cargo van full of collectibles. Do you want that? If I have all this inventory that's I'm never going to be able to get rid of it. Then guess what? I'm screwed myself over. So if you own a warehouse the size of a football field, this conversation's not for you. You can let sit until the end of time and let stuff sit. But if you're like me and you have only so much space, then this is the time to be able to do it. So I set up my categories that way, and I do it to eventually, my goal is everything you see here, all this stuff, one of two things is going to happen. Either one, it's going to get sold and shipped out, or two, I'm going to end the listing, it's going to end up in a junk pile and it's gone. Okay. So someone said, even though I have it discounted, do you send offers to those that are watching the item? Yeah, absolutely. So I still utilize the ability to send offers. I love sending offers to people. I'll randomly every couple weeks send a 5%, 7%, 10% offer to people to try to get sales moving even more. Now, if your margins are horrible, which unfortunately there are a lot of people whose margins are possibly terrible. Maybe you're going to thrift stores and you're buying a shirt for $8 and that shirt is actually only worth, I don't know, 25. And now that shirt you just discounted to 22 and 18 and 15. And now basically you're at the point where that shirt you may break even on it. dump it. It's a mistake. You made a mistake. You shouldn't have bought that shirt. And now you're just stuck with it. You're gonna make so much money on so many other things. How many stories do all of us have in which we bought an item for $5 and sold it for 150? I mean, I have more of those stories than I would ever be able to write in a dictionary of a book. So, so many people honestly have tried um to do something similar to this in some way. And I've tried other people's ways of discounting, and they'll end an item and they'll restart an item and they'll do all these little tricks. The end of the day, most of our buyers only care about one thing. What is your price? Are you 1 cent cheaper than somebody else? Yes. Then guess what? That's who I'm going to buy from. So if you have something that's a commodity, well, I'll give you an example. You got this Casio calculator. Casio, it's got the model number on it. You can go up and find out exactly what this is worth. Let's say this is a 24.99 calculator and somebody has it for 24.99 and you bought it for $1 at an estate sale or a yard sale. Some people will list that calculator for $18 or $20 in order to be like, "Hey, I'm making money. Great." But they forgot that the lowest price is 24.99. Why are you 20 when you should be 24.98? So you just have to beat everyone. Their price, lowest price plus shipping, you just have to beat them by 1 cent. So beat everybody by 1 cent. Because here's the best part. People will be like, oh, someone else will beat me by 1 cent. Great. Let them. Let them. Because guess what's going to happen? You are going to discount. They're not doing this. Nobody's doing this. Okay. Nobody's doing this. What I'm teaching you guys tonight, nobody does this. I created this. I've been doing it forever. I've talked about it forever. And most people are not doing it. And it makes absolutely no sense to me why people don't do their store categories this way. So someone's going to beat you. And guess what? Now you're 24.98. Someone's going to come in, blow you out of the water, and they're going to be 24.49. Now you just discounted 5%. And then you discounted 10%. And that's going to be what ends up happening over and over and over again. So doesn't matter if someone beats you. You don't have to check your prices and where people are ever again. There are a lot of people who will go through and they'll search their own items. They'll see, am I the lowest price? Am I the lowest price? Okay. And they'll spend all day making sure and they'll have to revise all their listings and spend hours and hours and hours doing that. This eliminates you ever again having to do that. You won't. Someone just wrote, do you promote everything? Yes, I promote everything at 2%. Doing anything over 2% makes 0 cents. It's just giving money away to eBay at that point. I feel like I've seen one super big store that does this, or something. They always have great prices. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if they just keep discounting everything 5%, 10%, 15%, I'm telling you to discount all the way up to 80%. Your goal should be that this stuff this is everything you see behind me, all of it's on eBay. 100% of this stuff's on eBay. So, I can't recommend enough for everybody to realize that your goal for this stuff is to sell it or get it out of your house. Every time I bring in another cartload of stuff into my home, my goal more than anything is to get that out of my house as fast as humanly possible. Whether it's through sales, local sales, eBay sales, whatever. I just want to get it sold. But for all of us that sell on eBay, this really is, you think about it. You could have something in your store start today, start discounting every 45 days by 5 to 10%, 20%, 30%. A year and a half later, that item might still be in your store at 60%. If you look at my store right now, I have, 20, 30, 40 items and 60% off, a bunch of items and 70% off. I have probably 15 or 20 items and 80% off. And here's the best part. They're not selling. I have stuff in 80% off and it's still available. No one bought it. All right, think about that. How many items do you have in your store right now that if you discounted every item in your store and put it all on sale at 80% off, that would still be available in 45 days? Isn't that nuts? But you have no idea which items those are. You have no clue, and I have no clue. You think that there's items that I have an 80% off that I thought was going to be an 80% off, hats that I listed for, $100 that ended up being $20 right now on my eBay store. Cool vintage, dead stock hats from the 1990s that I was like, oh man, at worst case, I'm going to get 70 for this hat. It's a 20, and still no one wants it. So yeah, I can't recommend enough to do this process. But I'm going to see what questions people have. I lost all my listings a while back, but I had listed that have been listed for many years. I'm sorry that that happened to you. So when we set up our categories, that's when we choose which categories to set our stuff in. Okay. So all your items, picture right now today, you got rid of every single store category you have. Poof, they're all gone. They're all now in one category called new. You move every single thing, you get rid of every category, electronics, pants, coins, whatever the hell it is. You get rid of all of them and you put them all into one category called new. That's it. That's it. So now you got one category. Then you create another category called 5% off. And everything that was in new, and you can just put everything automatically in 5% off, save yourself the trouble. But now all your stuff is now in 5% off. Then you go and do that discount. And you discount everything in your store category 5% off. And now that's all discounted 5% off. Now, all that stuff, forget about it. It's now in that discount, it's all set. Now that category new, now you're going to list another item. You're going to list another item right now today over the next 45 days. All those items, everything you list goes in the category new. Then that 45 days, that sale ends. Guess what? The next day, eBay discount day. So if everything was supposed to end March 15th, now it's March 16th. You have no sales running now. Great. You go through, you bulk edit everything that was in 5% off, now goes to 10% off. Everything that you listed over the last 45 days that was in new, that goes into 5% off. And guess what? You list something now, goes into new. And you keep doing that process until everything in 10% off, 20% off, 30%, it just keeps jumping. You just keep moving it all until like a year later. This process is not a quick process, but you don't have to do, it's not going to take you a lot of time. So you list every day, you list daily and new for 45 days. Yes. I list every single day. I'm assuming you guys do too. Everything just gets listed in new. Now also think about it. What a pain in the what it is every single time you're listing, and you're listing a Lego set. I gotta switch the store category to toys. I'm listing a pair of pants. I gotta put that in clothing. I'm listing a magazine. I gotta put that in books. Gone. You set up a template. Everything's a new. Boom, done. You're all set. And I'll be doing another one of these soon on how to set up templates and those things. But that's for another day. But for those people who know how to set up templates, no, it can't be easier. It sets things up so much better. Do you ever reword the listings, or is there a certain way to list things to attract buyers better? The best way you can do is look up an item and look up and see how someone else listed it that it's sold. So like, and giving you an example, I keep using this because it's within hands reach of me. This calculator, this Casio calculator. If you look up on eBay sold, and you see somebody sold that for a good amount of money, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to just steal their title. You're not allowed to steal their photos. And by the way, you should never steal photos. It's because then if they had a crack in something and you didn't notice it, or it's a different model number, then you're in trouble. Never steal anyone's photos, but steal the hell out of their titles. There's nothing wrong about stealing someone's titles whatsoever. So if someone took the time to do Casio and two-way power and the number and school and high school and all the great things, and they sold out that calculator because they had a great title, copy, paste, done. And then guess what? That's all set. That's the best way to being able to get it. What if you're using, what if you're using Vendude to list because you cross post? Well, at the end of the day, it's all still just going to be in a certain category. This with ending and relisting your items. I mean, at the end of the day, if you just keep ending your items and relisting your items, you're not changing the prices. That's the biggest problem. Because if you think that you just ending your listings and restarting your listings is going to be what gets you a lot more sales, and listen, it might help you. According to eBay, and I've talked to eBay executives about this, they have said ending and restarting your listings does absolutely nothing. But I've got a ton of people that are eBay resellers that swear on a Bible that it works. So if you think it works, it's great. But what that doesn't do is it does not change the price. So if you end and restart a listing constantly and you're at $50 and the price that people would actually buy it is at $30, that doesn't help you at all. So keep that in the back of your head. Let's see. Uh, where do the long tail items go? Okay. So, like I said before, I have a ton of items that are not going to not going to sell immediately. I'll have like 50 of a belt buckle. I have a belt buckle I've got like 70 of. I can't do this kind of discount with it because that item is a long-term sale. That is going to be there forever. So what I do is I have a separate category where I'll have vintage belt buckles, and all my vintage belt buckles that I have 70 of or a million of, they go in that, and then I just discount accordingly. Okay, I'll do 10% off. I'll do 20% off. I'll stop at 40% off. I won't discount past that for a certain amount of time. And then if they're there for 3 years, then yeah, then I will. But that's what I do for those. But just to give an example, I have 500 belt buckles that are listed. If I just bought another 500 belt buckles, which weirdly enough, I do have another 500 belt buckles, I would not be listing those items immediately together. I wouldn't take the new belt buckles and list them with the ones that I had. Worst case scenario, I would just do another category called vintage belt buckles 2. And that's what you do for the long term items. How long have you been doing the categories this way? Stephanie, I've been doing it for over a decade this way. And I have been sharing it with people like crazy. And I've been trying my best to teach people to do their store categories this way. It's fallen on deaf ears. So hopefully, this is the one time where people actually listen. For the few people that I know that have actually done this, everyone across the board has told me that this has been at least triple their sales from doing this. So it tripled my sales. That's why I titled it Triple Your Category, Triple Your Sales, because it actually did for me. Okay. And that was 10 or 12 years ago. I did it. It tripled my sales. And I've never stopped doing this. That's why every 45 days, the day after, I have eBay discount day. So my discounts end March 11th. March 12th is on my phone calendar, eBay discount day. That morning, I wake up, it's like 2 hours. It's sometimes, sometimes you can bang it out in an hour if you do it quick enough. But it's like, an hour to 2 hours, and you just switch all your categories, switch everything over. But it shows you the items that didn't sell. So now I know not to buy military outfits and things like that. They sit, they don't sell, they end up in 80% off. And there's a bunch of other categories of things I'm not buying. I'm not buying suits. I'm not buying, there's a lot of things that just sit. So that should help you. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see all the comments. Sorry. I have auto posture decrease my price every time a listing renews. Okay, if auto posture will do that, that's great. I'm not saying starting, ending, and relist. Will the listings go into the new category in your store when you repost? So if you end an item and restart an item, it's going to just go to whatever category it was in. So if you had it in 10% off and you end the listing and relist the item, it's just going to go to 10% off. You have to bulk edit to switch categories. Does eBay automatically relist the item every 30 days? Yeah, eBay automatically relists all your items in your store if you do good to canceled, which good until canceled. Um, what's up, Lois? I would think so. Okay, let's see. Um, I would have to stop automatically relisting with the software. I don't. Do you promote your listings? Yes. 2% on every listings. How do you stop eBay from ending the listing after 30 days? Jaylicious, it's just have an eBay store and do good till canceled in your eBay store, and that's what that will be able to do it. Um, let's see. If anyone has any other questions in the chat, throw them in the chat. Happy to help. Really, to rewatch this, please tell me if you're recording so we can get a copy. Yes, Arthur, I am recording this. I am recording this, and my goal is to post this on a long form on my YouTube page, which is Kings of eBay. I have a YouTube channel. That is my goal. I have never used this platform before called Bevy, which is I screwed up a bunch of stuff for this meeting of like everyone's a presenter and like I had no idea what I was doing. So I've learned a lot of stuff from doing this. My goal is to do a lot more of these and to have guests on as well, and seeing how that works. So let's see. If somebody wants to come in here and ask a question, I want to see if I can actually allow someone to be a presenter. Um, I don't know how to do that. So in the chat, if you want to jump in and and be on here on the video with me, I want to try that out because I want to do more of these in the future. So and press all the buttons and see. So if anybody wants to be a part of this, Scott, if you want to do it, um, Jalicious, I can later on. Yes. But yeah, if anyone has more questions or wants to just ask on video, I'll let anyone ask. So I guess you can raise your hand. So there's a button that says raise hand. So if you raise your hand, I think you might jump up to the top where I'll be able to do that. How do you beat the algorithm? So, oh, here we go. Perfect. Okay, great. So I guess you can ask to be a presenter. That's awesome. Charmaine, feel free to if you want to. Let's see if I can unmute you. Hold on, I'm gonna try. Charlene, okay. How do I unmute? See, I'm learning all this fun stuff. Huh. It's not letting me. See, this is why we're trying this out. It's actually not even letting me unmute for someone to be able to ask. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Right click on their picture. Okay. Right click on that picture. Nope, that's not working. All right, Charlene, give me 1 second. And we are going to figure this out right now. So you're marked as a presenter. Let's see if I switch you to moderator. Maybe as a moderator you can do something. We're gonna see. We're gonna figure this out. Sorry guys that all right. Lois, I don't know why there's multiple videos of you right now. Not really sure why. You keep coming in and out. But all right. Charmaine, we're gonna try this again. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure this out where participants. Okay. Let's see why this isn't working. Presenters. It's not letting me remove from event, presenter, moderator mode, send direct message. Microphone has been turned off by the participant. All right, Charmaine, why don't you try to turn off your own microphone? Maybe that's what it is. Let's see.
Okay.
Oh, you're there.
Great. I got it. I don't know where my picture went, but that's okay. I list a lot, so I'm not new at anything. My question is, if you're listing everything as new, that's the category is new?
The category is new, not the actual item. So
Right, of course.
it
But
just says, yep.
Yeah, if you're listing it as new, what about all those pull downs, those like size and colors and things like details like that? Where does that come in?
Which size and colors? You mean like you go down and
Okay,
just
I list a lot of clothes.
so that
Men's clothes.
none of that changes. So
That will
you would
be there?
none of it changes. So all you list an item exactly how you would list it.
Right.
So however you would do that, that's all you have to do is like that, is just list it just like that. So I can't recommend enough to just go in and just have it that when you do the categories, it's literally just changing that one thing. Everything else is the same.
So I will get the pull downs for colors and sizes and the details that would go with, say, a men's shirt.
Nothing will change whatsoever with that at all.
Well, that sounds easy because I've got stuff waiting to list when I get off this meetup.
So when you go in, you think of it like this. If you're listing, with the pull downs and you're doing all the details, everything,
Right.
it's going to be 100% the same. The
Oh,
only thing you're changing is your store category. That's it.
okay.
So do you do templates when you list?
No, I usually
Okay.
do either sell similar from, if I do men's shirts, I just do a similar off of another shirt of mine
So you
and
can
then just change it as needed.
So you can still do that, okay?
Oh,
You can absolutely still do that if you want. I recommend having a template And when you have a template, one of the things that you can do is that you can add however you normally do, and then you can just keep doing sell similar after you do it.
Okay, sounds like worth trying. 'Cause a lot of times I do end and relist items, but many times I leave them off for maybe a week. If especially if it's a 7-day auction, I leave it off and then make it relist it and becomes kind of new again. And that seemed to help me a lot with sales also.
So there's a lot of people that swear by ending a listing and restarting a listing, and that helps them.
Hmm.
I can only tell you from in a higher up eBay executive that I had that conversation with and asked them point blank, and their response officially was that it doesn't do anything. But I mean, we've seen it from other people who swear by it that they say that it does. So eBay is looking internally right now to find out why is that happening. But the majority of people that I've asked at eBay across the board have said that it doesn't do anything. But yet again, I mean, who knows? If it listen, my feeling is if something works for you, just keep
Yeah.
doing it. Why not? Right? It doesn't hurt anything.
Right. It doesn't cost anything, but I usually let something go run maybe several times at 30 days. So after it hasn't sold in maybe 3 or 4 months, then I end it and just relist it. Sometimes I'll lower the price, but most of the time I just hit relist of something that was listed for a long time. And I've had pretty good sales come again.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah, it's just
Y if
well,
that stuff works for you,
hmm.
100%. Do whatever works. I just trying to give you another idea. The only thing that I can say for that is, do you have items that have been sitting in your eBay store for 2 years?
Oh yeah.
Probably CDs. That would probably be the oldest items.
All right, another question for you. What is the like lowest price items in your store? If I went to your store right now, what would be the lowest price item that you have?
9.99 maybe.
Around
Okay.
there.
About $10.
With free
And plus
shipping?
add shipping. Well, it depends. Some of the CDs I have free shipping, but unfortunately, they just raised the price of media mail again.
Yes. Yeah, January
So I'm
21st.
as I'm ending some of these CDs, I'm adding $1 or $2 to the price to cover that newer shipping. But most of my items, if they're over a pound, it's they pay shipping. If it's under a pound, it's a mix. Sometimes it's free shipping, sometimes it's not.
Okay. We have somebody who just wrote, you mentioned this at the eBay Open, and I've tried it out, and it's great. Took me 3 days to change store categories. I'd never used store categories. It's been working great. But I label my store categories the date the items were listed, so I'm going to have to change those. Okay. No, Arthur, that is awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, I will
Um,
try. Sounds
so
good to me.
I do free shipping, but this is one of those things where it's whatever you want to do. The reason I do free shipping, especially on something like CDs, I do free shipping
I
because I already know it's not going to cost me more than $3.50 to ship that.
Not anymore. It just went
Yeah,
up
to
to
even
4
for
something.
yeah. So I
But
would
I do
build that into the price,
yeah, I've been trying to do some free shipping, and like I say, if it's over a pound because I'm in Chicago area, so I'm in kind of the middle of the country,
which is
but
good.
even still, almost everything is either zone 5 or zone 7, and we're talking almost $12 shipping now for 2 or 3 pounds.
Yeah, listen, it's been a nightmare for me with shipping. I'm in Boston, so
Mhm.
for me, I just had to ship a 72-pound printer to Arizona, which
Ouch.
cost me $95, and, the guy now wants to return it. Uh,
Oh.
so so nightmares, like, these are the kinds of things, like, that keep people up at night. I got a
Mhm.
$215, heavy electronic thing that I just shipped to somebody, tested it, it worked. Guy got it, says it doesn't work. That's on its way back. Like,
Oh.
it's just nightmares of heavy returns coming back to me. But I still do free shipping even with that. But I don't tell people not to do it or to do it. I only add one caveat. Everyone talks about the eBay algorithm. It's what everyone talks about. eBay algorithm, and you're going to hear a million things of nonsense in the eBay algorithm of if you decline a counter offer that the eBay algorithm is going to, be mad at you and things like that. The only thing that's ever been announced publicly by eBay, and you can feel free to Google this to keep me honest because it is the actual truth. eBay has only come out with one thing that they've said publicly about the eBay algorithm, and that is they reward free shipping. That's the only thing that they've ever said. They want everyone to do free shipping. So that's something that they promote. So I just keep that in the back of your head for showing up in Google searches and things like that.
I'll try it on some items as long as there's enough profit in them to cover that shipping.
Yeah, CDs is kind of hit or miss, but it doesn't take a lot of storage space and it's not a big pain to ship. So,
No, they're easy to store and ship and shoot and everything. They're
yep.
they're a great item to have and sell.
I have a general rule that I won't sell any CDs or any media or things like that. For the most part, I'll occasionally have a video game for $13, whatever. But my rule is 14.99 or less. I typically am not going to put it on eBay.
Hmm. Okay, just a thought. Maybe I'm going to combine some with the same artist, so I
A
can get two or
hundred
three
percent.
CDs, and then I could raise the price to make it more profitable.
I just sold like I think it was 9 M&M CDs for $28. I would have never listed those individually. I've had all of them one lot, and it sold literally tonight. I think it was 27.99.
Nice. I'm going to have to combine some. Sounds like a good plan.
Absolutely. And we're going to be doing a lot more of these meetings. So feel free, if you're not currently in my chapter, it's free to join. Click to join the chapter. And then you'll find out every time we're doing one of these meetings, people will be able to join.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we have some questions. What's the benefit of having an eBay store? Do they have benefits compared to not having a store? So there's a few things that I recommend having an eBay store for. Number one, it's pride in your business. It's the difference between selling stuff out of your garage or having a storefront that's branded and people can come in and you're greeted and people say hello. An eBay store, you can brand, you have your logo up, come up with a cool name that you're proud of, and then you can share your store with people and being like, hey, you're looking for Valentine's Day gifts. Well, here's my store of all this stuff. You're able to easily share your store. Can't recommend enough. That is a smart thing to do. But it's also the cheapest one. I think it's like $8. I think it's like $7.99 a month. It's really not a big deal. But that also gives you discounts on your final value fees. It gives you discounts on listing fees. You get a certain allotment of items that you can sell every month. And if you're at the basic store, the premium store, and probably I'd assume the anchor store, you end up getting a coupon every month for either 25, 50, or it might even be more for the anchor store to use towards eBay branded merchandise. So I think I do an annual. I think on February 1st, I think yesterday, they charged me, I think it was like $600 for an annual for the premium store. So I pay about $600 a year for the store. If you break that down monthly, I don't know, what's that, $50? So it ends up being $50. I mean, I sell one item that I just chalk up as a loss, see you later, and I made my money back. So to me, it's worth it. But that's also because I have over 1,000 items in my store. If you have a couple hundred items in your store, just go with the basic or the $8 one. Like you don't have to start out with the $300 package immediately. You can just you work your way up to these things. Let's see. Listen. I'm getting a lot of damaged packages with USPS. I'm sorry to hear that. I love when I decline a counter offer and they buy it at full price. Yes, 100%. I get somewhere between 20 and 40 offers every single day. I decline 75% of them. Declining an offer is your way of saying to somebody, hey, your offer is so bad that I don't even want to counter it. And that person will go, man, I lowballed this guy. I really want this item. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come back with a more realistic price. So if I have an item for $100 and you offer 75, I'll counter you. You're within that world. If I have an item for $100 and you offer me 50, I'm declining you. That's my way of saying you either don't have the money to get this item or you shouldn't be here. Goodbye. See you later. It's not rude. It's a sales tactic. And a lot of times people that you decline to 50 are so insulted that they're like, oh man, oh, okay, well, I'll try 60, I'll try 80. And next thing you know, they're buying it for 97.99. Um, let's see. Can you upgrade your store at any time? Yes, Cam, you can upgrade your store at any time. You can start out with the $8 version, build up to get to the basic, and then go to the premium. The eBay makes it super easy to be able to just click a button, give your credit card information, and jump up to the next level. I have raised my price if they lowball me, and they that's not the worst idea ever. Um, let's see. 2% for promotions. Yeah, that's all you have to do. 2% for promotions. Um, by the way, thank you to Jaylicious for monitoring the chat. Greatly appreciate that. Always there to help. Um, And by the way, if you're not following me on TikTok or all the social media channels, can't recommend that enough. It's not just me though. There's so many other people that have been doing eBay for a gazillion years that you can follow. And it's just, I was on the eBay for Business podcast, and in that podcast, I shouted out a ton of people. All those people are good ones to be able to follow. Um, yeah, if anyone has any more questions, feel free. Ask it in the chat. What about offsite and advanced promotions? I do offers. So I'll tell you a trick that I do. Not everyone's a fan of this trick. This is where I'm a little different than those other people. I give you real advice. There are a lot of people who will stick just to the book. This is from a real reseller that actually resells, and I'm going to tell you what you need to be able to do. Go into your ways to be able to make an offer. There's a place to be able to do it where you go into my eBay. And by the way, someone says the screen is fuzzy. If you leave and come back, it's works. Yeah, that's the way to be able to do it. If you go into your offers, you're able to look at all your listings. You go into listings, and then it has send offers eligible. So you click that, and then you can actually check mark and send an offer. You don't know who the people are. It's sent to them blindly. eBay keeps that information. But you can write a little something to all those people. And you're able to say to those people, hey, here's what I got going on. Here's my here's a little blurb or something. What I like to write in that is something along the lines of like a car salesman tactic. And everyone gives car salesmen so much crap for their tactics and things like that. Not everyone likes them, but at the same time, sometimes the things work. Let's say someone comes and looks at a car and they really kind of want the car, but they need a little push to actually buy the car. Okay. One of the things that you can do is you can say, I have someone coming tomorrow that is definitely going to buy this car or is looking or thinking about buying this car. So if you want it, this is the time to make that decision. And it just gives people that little push. And that's what I do when I send out my offers. I let people know that someone else is interested. That's it. I'm not changing the condition. I'm not lying about the condition or doing anything like that. I'm just giving a little push to people to say, hey, you want the item, so does other people. I'm sending this to all my watchers. There's 15 watchers on this item, and I'm sending this offer out to everybody. First person to purchase is going to be the one to be able to get it. So I can't recommend enough here. Thank you, Vince, for posting the seller events group page. Much appreciated. Click that, and you'll be able to join my chapter and join it at any time that you'd like. What was I gonna say? Donna, do you have a question?
No, I'm just getting in.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
We're going over some stuff. Do you have since you're on here, is there anything you want to ask about eBay or anything like that? We'll be happy to help you.
Not right at the moment, I don't.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I can't recommend enough. Go in, do send offers eligible, send an offer out to everybody. That just kind of lets people know, hey, other people are interested in this, whether it's an international buyer or a local buyer or whatever. And it just lets people know, hey, if I'm going to buy it, now's the time. So not everyone agrees with tactics like that or whatever. At the end of the day, as long as you're selling your item honestly, do what you got to do in order to get your stuff sold. We're all in the same game, which is we're buying stuff cheap and we're trying to sell it for as much as humanly possible, and we're trying to unload as much of this crap as we can. Do you allow offers on your items? Yes and no. So what eBay wants you to do is be like Amazon, which is accept returns on everything. I accept returns on all my items, but if it's a regret purchase, oh, I bought these shoes and I don't like the color. Oh, they don't fit correctly. This shirt's a little tighter than I thought it was going to be. Well, tough. If I sent you an item and it doesn't work and it's broken, guess what you can do? Ship it back to me. I'll pay return shipping, no problem. But if you get an item and guess what? You don't need to use it, or oh, I accidentally bought 2 of them from someone else. Oopsie. I'm not paying for your oopsie. I'm not paying for you not liking the shoe color or whatever. So on any of those where it's like a their fault, return, they're paying to return it. I'll take the return, but they're paying to return it. So I do take returns. I just don't take all returns, because think of it like this. I sell boots on eBay, I buy a pair of boots for $10. I sell it on eBay for 60. Cost me $20 to ship. I made 20-ish dollars on that deal. Not bad, $20, $20, whatever. But if that person returns it and I have to pay for the return shipping and it costs me 20 to ship, my profit margin goes from being semi-crappy at $20 to 0. I don't want to be someone's, try-on section of a closet. It's not my business. I'm not doing that. So yeah, I'm not taking returns on that stuff. You want to return it, you can. Also, here's another thing that most people don't know. If you get a return and it's damaged and it's clear that either the person switched the item or, which happens more often than you think, it sucks that people use our stores to swap out older items that the only place they can buy it is on eBay. They take out one component or swap a broken plastic piece, and they did it. You have the ability, if you are an eBay top rated seller, to refund only 50% of what they do. So I do that all the time when it's clear. I call it eBay extortion. I get extorted for stuff constantly in my store. It sucks. I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of you guys have that happen too. And whenever you talk and complain to eBay or anybody about it, it's the cost of doing business. Yeah, it's the cost of doing business and sucks. That's why your profit margins need to be amazing so that you can cover when that happens. Do you recommend using advanced promotions, display ads, or off-site ads? Okay, so advanced promotions would be doing the promoted listings. That's 2% on every listing. I do that. Off-site ads. This is something that a lot of people don't realize that you can do. And it helps business out, and it helps me out a lot too. There's 2 ways to do it. One is free, one costs you money. So I'll tell you the free one first. I'll give you an example. I just got a bunch of surfboards, okay? I joined every surfboard group around Boston where I live because I don't want to ship these things. They're 6 feet tall or taller, and I don't want to ship them. I joined every one of those groups, and I started posting in those groups about them. I have these things, because I don't want to have to ship them. But here's another thing that I do with all of my stuff on eBay. Let's say I got a ton of die-cast cars and I posted them all on eBay. I will go into die-cast car groups and I will post a link to all of my die-cast cars that are on eBay into those groups. Because a lot of times I've found there are a lot of people who aren't you think they're just going to find your store. They're not, or find your item. Maybe they will. You have to create a little bit of a promotion for your items. Hey, I just got an amazing deal on this store. This guy just discounted all of his diecast by 10%. I bought the ones I want, but I figured, hey, I'd help out everyone else in this group. Take a look. I'll do that. I'll get 7 or 8 purchases of diecast cars from people who went and saw that. You never really want to tell them it's your stuff. You just, and I post my links to different items all the time. Clothes. I will go in. I am in over 1,000. I am in over 1,000 Facebook groups. And it's just because they're free. They're free. Like I own an estate sale company. I own an estate sale company, and I own an auction house. So there are times where I need to promote that I've got sewing machines. So guess what I did? I joined every single sewing machine group, and I posted in those groups, hey, you guys into vintage sewing machines? Well, did you see this auction? This auction's full of vintage sewing machines. And then I did one time that had 450 comments within 2 hours, and it was in a sewing machine group of people going, oh my God, they have the blah, 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 and this and that one. Do you think I know everything about sewing machines? No. But the people went crazy over this stuff because to me, they were hunks of junk, heavy sewing machines that I couldn't have given a you-know-what about. But to these lunatics who love sewing machines, They went nuts. So Facebook groups, absolutely free. Join them. Okay, here's the second one, and this is the paid one. Facebook ads are awesome. Okay, awesome. I do them all the time, and I get crazy sales. It's something I don't talk about all the time, but I really do this. I will take 10, let's say I have 10 electronic components, let's say receivers. I have 10 receivers, Harman Kardon receivers that I just posted. I will then post it for the price into Facebook Marketplace of that. But here's the thing, I'm not selling it on Facebook Marketplace. I'll have my link to eBay in there, and I'll post it and I'll say, I have this item on eBay for you to be able to purchase. And it's not me posting it there, but then I do the boosting ads. And I boost the ads to boost people to go and find my eBay listings. And it will be not just for that one component, it'll be a store search, a link to the store search with all my components. So they clicked on that one Harman Kardon, but guess what? I've got like 25 of them. And now that person that and you can do Facebook boost for like $3, like $3 a day. And guess what? It goes out to like 1,000 people a day. It's amazing. I get so many more sales from doing that. I do that all the time. I don't talk about it too much, but that's something, for people to be able to do. How do you copy the correct link? Just bring up your item and copy address at the bar. Yeah. So if you go to your store and you go to your store, you can either click the category and do it, and you just do everything in that category and post that. Or the other option is you can type in your store for something specific. Let's say you have diecast, but you have diecast and 10% off and 50% off and 70% off. You can just type in diecast. Find whatever that word is. Maybe it's Hot Wheels. Whatever it is, you find that one word that has everything there. You can do that. You can also search for everything in your eBay store by which category it's in. And you can do that and copy that and put that everywhere. So everything that's in contemporary, diecast, put that. So that works. You mentioned a few things you sell. What are your best sellers? My best sellers, weirdly enough, are video games. Video games are my number one bestseller, where I list a video game and it can be gone in a day. Now, I think video games are the biggest waste ever in a human being's life. And I strongly think that so many people waste their entire lives playing video games. But I love the people that do, because they buy all my video games. A Zelda from 20 years ago, and listed for $30, gone in 2 seconds. Like, video games fly off the shelves. I'll list 100 video games. Ask me in a week how many I have. I'll have 30 or 40. They just, boom, easy to ship. I love them. Just get them for the right price. And if you get any that are worth under $15, pair them with a system. That's why I have, at any given time, I have about 20 to 40 video game systems in my eBay store. And if you look, the majority of them have games with them. Guarantee you every one of those games is worth less than $15. Those are my junk games. By the way, I also love selling toner. If you can kind of see here, over here, there's a whole stack. I sell toner like crazy. I buy toner like crazy. It's my number one favorite thing to flip is toner. This right here, this is all toner right here. There's so much toner in my house. It's crazy. I buy it and sell it like an absolute maniac. That's a good flip. Because people need it. But think of it as a commodity. People have to keep buying it. People have to keep buying it. Where a toy isn't a commodity, like that someone needs to have that new Star Wars figure. Someone is going to need this toner for their printer. Same things like that. Finding that stuff that's constantly needs to be reused. Those are the things that I really like to look for. Specifically new old stock, which is just a new item that just happens to be old. Yeah. I mean, listen, does anybody have any other questions whatsoever? I think I've figured out this Bevy platform. I need to have another thing with them to do a little bit more work to figure this out. But I do hope everybody has joined the meeting, the group, the chapter group. What about printer ink, even if expired? Yes. Expired ink doesn't mean anything. If the ink was expired 30 years ago, maybe it dried out. But any ink from like 2010 till now, 14 years, all is going to work. 99.9% of that is going to work. So forget the expired, does not matter. It's not children's medicine that you have to be worried about. It's toner. The expiration date doesn't matter. But some of the really older ones are not worth that much money. And the reason for that is because people stopped using that printer. So, keep that in the back of your head. Let's see. I got a ton of it for $2. What should I list it for? Look it up. Do a research and look up any. This is my advice for any item. For if you're wondering what to sell any item for, and it's something that's on eBay, stop looking at the solds. Like the solds are just for you to be able to see it's an item worth purchasing. That's just to be able to calculate the sell-through rate. That's all that matters. Okay. Because a lot of times stuff sells for bigger money and then the market goes lower because we're in a race to the bottom kind of a capitalist society. So if an item was regularly selling and sold for $80, 99.90, a bunch of hundreds, but clearly like all the solds like $80. But you look at what's available right now, and it's available $69.99, $71.99, $59.99. It's not an $80 item. It's now a $70 item. So do your best to make sure that you look at whatever's available and just do 1 cent lower than the most comparable item. If someone has open box and yours is brand new, it's not the same thing. If you have a large shirt, if this is a large and someone has it in an XL, they're not your competitor. The person looking to buy the large isn't the person looking to buy the XL. So keep that in mind. Different size shirts and different size clothing is absolutely not it's a comp to get an idea. Like if I was wondering if this shirt was a $300 shirt and someone has it in a different size for $250, then guess what? I know that shirt has value. But if there are a bunch of people that have this in a different size and it's selling for like $4.99 and $5.99, I know I'm probably not going to get crazy money for it if it's one size different. So that's the only time to really look at the completeds. Do you use Terapeak pricing research or other sources? I do occasionally use Terapeak, and I do occasionally have to ask people for WorthPoint. I don't use WorthPoint personally because I don't want to pay what it costs per month. I have so many other bills and fees and things. But I would recommend that if you want to use Terapeak, it's a great service. I think now it's 3 years. There's a guy on TikTok who goes by the name The Dude Abides, just posted a video of how to be able to get to see Terapeak from your phone. I had no idea you could get Terapeak on your phone. He figured out how to be able to do it. Can't recommend that enough. Let's see. Does anyone have any other questions? I'll answer one last one before we go. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who was a part of this. I really honestly I want to hear from you guys if you tried this store category out. If it worked, if it didn't work, if whatever, please tell me. I would love to be able to hear from you guys and see what you think. And I mean, it means a lot to me that everybody's here. There's so many other categories. If there's topics that you want to learn more about in the future, let me know. My goal is to start doing these either weekly or bi-weekly, and having it that it's an open forum. I want to start having more people on. As you can see, I had the ability of having someone else on with me. I want to start doing that where we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people all together talking reselling, and having this as a place where we can all go to and do that, and having it be an eBay conversation. So when we do this, it has to be eBay. When I'm on other social media platforms, I'll talk about other platforms. But when we're on eBay, we talk about eBay. So I'm so glad that you guys were able to be here. By the way, your background is the epitome of OG Relay Bears and how it all started. Yeah, this is my office. So what you see behind me, every single thing here is on eBay listed, 100% of it. So you could at any point go in my store and click Clarinet and you'll find all this. This isn't a green screen. This is my actual, shelving, and these are all items and boxes, and that's my jackets. As you can see, it's caving in. You can see that it's so heavy that's caving in. I've got to actually replace that. So yeah, like this is what I do for a living. I own an estate sale company. I own an auction house. I'm a certified personal property appraiser. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I have this eBay business. I sell on a couple other platforms as well. But yeah, I mean, I take consignments. That's why I have one of my categories, consignments. Stephanie asked how many items I list per day. Honestly, I think that's one of the worst things that we as resellers can do is try to hit a certain number every day, because then this starts to feel like an actual job. Um, you know, I can't recommend enough to grab, I don't know, 20 items at the end of the night. Take the photos at the end of the night. Put them on your computer, your phone, however you list. Then when you wake up in the morning, you have the photos and all that stuff done, and then list as many as you feel comfortable doing. And if you're not able to get them all done, don't beat yourself up. Okay. The second you start to make this feel like a real job, it becomes a real job. It does. Listen, I own my own business. I run this business. I've got a great team of people that I work with. And I never once want to be able to feel like I'm going to work, even though I'll sit at this computer for 8 hours banging out listings just like the rest of you guys. I'm no different than anybody else here that does the same thing. The only difference is that I've been doing this for 26 years. I'm 40, so more than half of my life I have spent doing this. Um, and I want to bring so many more people into the fold to learn how to do this. I love teaching more people how to do this. There's nothing I like more than hearing about a 14-year-old kid who is now making a ton of money because that they started reselling. Like I started when I was 14. I am the proof epitome that by the time I was 15, I was making more money than my principal. True story, 100% true story. And it's just a crazy thing that now today people can do it, selling shoes, selling stuff, going to yard sales, flea markets, and I want to be able to help people. So whether you've been selling for a small amount of time or you're new to this, seriously, just do everything you can to learn a little bit each day, get a little bit better, make mistakes, start selling all the crap in your house you don't need, and make mistakes. And that's the only way you're going to be better. Listen, I wish I could tell you that I was perfect and that I bat 1,000. I have a giant pile of stuff that's junk that I paid for that I can't sell that's sitting on the other side of that room in my office. I make tons of mistakes, but pencils have erasers. I'm gonna dump all that stuff to somebody else and let them deal with it and get $100, $150 for it, and that's that. So, yeah. Um, Email me if you have any questions. I'll show my email real quick. So if you have any questions, you want a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, I am more than happy to send it to anybody who requests it. My email is kingsofebay1@gmail.com. Because weirdly enough, someone has the kingsofebay@gmail.com email address. Who knew that was popular? But it's kingsofebay1@gmail.com. Feel free, and if you ever have a question, um, someone said 24 years for me. I started as a young single mom, and I'm a single mom all over again. Well, Stephanie, I mean, good for you. I mean, that's a long time you've been doing eBay. That would be since 99. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to end the live at this point and end this, but I'm going to do more of these. So I hope that you guys will join. So thank you, everybody.